With over 10,000 square miles in the Houston metropolitan area alone, major storms impact various parts of town differently. During a hurricane, those in or closer to Galveston Island may face more risk. Not everyone is urged to get out of town. Some are asked to hunker down. Francis Rodriguez with the Houston-Galveston Area Council is here to share a refined plan to help people safely weather the storm. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, you are a Houston native, so you know how this goes.
Absolutely.
And you've been through some things. You went through that freeze as well.
I did in 2021.
Yeah, and then of course there's the stressful evacuations. No matter what, it's just stressful to try to hurry up and get out of town and take everything you need.
Absolutely.
All right, planning ahead is critical, obviously. So coastal residents prepare now for a possible evacuation.
Yeah, that's what we urge. We urge everyone to make sure that they are preparing in advance. We encourage everyone to visit our website where we have a plethora of resources available. We have a hurricane guide that'll kind of help you take the steps that you need to take in order to make sure that you have a plan in place. Listen to your elected officials for guidance and make sure that you have your kit and have everything, have your water and your essentials, and
and Houston Galveston Area Council, I mean, you all try to look at every single situation to make sure that people can either, like I said, either get out of town or hunker down.
Yeah, so H-GAC, we work with all of our emergency management coordinators across the 13 county region. And we develop the maps as well. And we develop all these resources that are available. As I mentioned on our website, our maps are available online as well. And that is probably the most critical resource that you can have is the maps.
Yeah.
Know what zone you live in and know how to evacuate and which routes to take.
All right, so that evacuation zones, like what does that look like? There
are 4 zones. The coastal zone, Zone A, Zone B, and Zone C. All 3 are identified by a different color. And when an evacuation is called for, the elected officials will call for it in an orderly manner. Yeah. And that's strategic. That is put in place to make sure that we are not all hitting the road at the same time.
We saw what that looked like after Hurricane Rita, and it was catastrophic. People couldn't get anywhere they would stay in one spot for hours.
That is what sparked the development of the maps. That is what sparked our region to understand that we were unprepared and we needed to have a different strategy in place.
Yeah, and you're making sure that the people who are the most vulnerable get out first.
Those that are most at risk to the storm surge, so those that are on the coastal zones in Zone A, Zone B, and everyone else that is further inland can probably hunker down unless told otherwise.
Yeah, and authorities issued the orders phased by zip code and the zone that we're talking about. Don't wait for that storm to be overhead you, right? Because you'll issue it as far out in advance as you possibly can.
Yes, they will. They'll issue it as far out in advance as they can. Sometimes it'll be voluntary and sometimes it'll be mandatory. So just listen to the guidance that's provided.
Have a family evacuation plan as well. Yes. Because oftentimes we see where people having to just get out will get lost and sometimes not even have a way to contact each other because they didn't charge phones and things like that.
They didn't charge phones or signal, just cell phone signal is down. We've seen that as well. Traffic can also play an issue or a critical role. So have a plan to where to meet, where to reconvene your family.
We're going to grandma's in Dallas. Okay.
Exactly. Have that plan in place.
Yeah. All right. The Houston-Galveston region, as we mentioned earlier, it is such a wide region. And so various areas are impacted differently. But you have the 4 zip zone areas classified by level of storm surge threat.
Yeah, so the 4 zones, as I mentioned, it's the coastal zone, which those are the folks that are most at threat. That's going to be your Galveston coastline, Brazoria. And then it goes into Zone A, Zone B, Zone C. And those that are most at threat, those are the ones that we want to be able to have the opportunity to get out without being gridlocked in by everybody else. Yeah. So that's why it's so important to make sure that we are doing this in an orderly manner. That is the most critical part, is make sure that it's being done in that specific manner to get those that are most at risk out and allow them the opportunity to get to a safe location.
And be familiar with your route, but also be willing to pivot on a dime because you can't rely on GPS. Sometimes those routes can be cut off and you have to go this, route B.
You might have to go route B, but I would also say to maybe not take that back road. Yeah. that shortcut, because everybody else might be taking that, but also, these evacuation routes are staffed with traffic control points, and they're typically staffed with law enforcement or with certain officials that
crews can clear any problems might have, because those back roads, those down trees may just be there. Yeah.
They'll help to keep traffic flowing, and then they'll be available in case of an emergency. So the routes are put in place for a reason.
Yeah.
So I would say stick to the routes if you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, all right. But GPS sometimes is not working, so be familiar with your route.
Yes.
Before, yeah.
Before,
yeah.
absolutely.
All right, and then emergency responders are positioned along the routes. That's an important thing as well, because they're going to be not on those back roads. They will be on the main routes. Assistance for minor vehicle issues?
Yes, so they'll be available if you run out of gas or something like that, or if you need a tow truck. You would just be easier to spot and easier to find if you need that help when you're on one of our main evacuation routes versus that back road where nobody can find you.
Yeah, all right. So prepare your vehicle and all that type of stuff as well, and then prepare what things you will take with you or have with you in your home.
Yes, so these are actually items from my personal hurricane preparedness kit at home. And so, I highly recommend that everybody plan in advance, have those canned goods, have that water, your flashlight, your batteries, your candles. I have a weather radio as well.
Yeah, perfect. Just stay tuned with what's really happening in real time. Thank you so much, and you have a number of online resources as well. Yes. Visit h-gac.com/hurricane to download zip zone maps, evacuation zone maps, and tips to prepare for hurricane season.